Hi, everybody. Dan Illman and Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Wednesday, August the 24th, race number 6 at Saratoga. Let's kick off the 50-cent late pick 5 with an entry-level allowance going 5.5 on the turf. Let's take a peek at this field. Please scan the QR code for race of the day access on your mobile device. It's a big field for these 3-year-olds and up on the melon turf. 12 in the body of the race, the 13 risk profile entered name track only. And it's nice to see our old boss, Steve Christ, represented with Thin White Duke, who ran a big race last time out in Latroy.
Yeah, it is nice to see him coming back on relatively short order, too. I don't know, Dan. He's not the morning line favorite. To me, if Thin White Duke runs either one of his last 2 races, he probably wins here.
Let's take a look at the Timeform US pace projector. Thin White Duke likes something to run at, and this pace could get hot and heavy. Under Oath, trying turf for the first time for Todd Pletcher, expected to be up and on the lead. Glorious Moment, trying turf for the first time for Michelle Hemingway, can be close as well. King Angelo, the 5, you know he's going to be there.
King Angelo's, style is to use his speed early in his races. It'll be interesting to see what happens, though, if he does indeed face some pressure up there, Dan, because, while he's won 2 of his last 3 starts, he just got absolutely loose in both of those races. And I wonder what's going to happen if he takes some pressure up there.
Personally, I think the 9, His Time, is also going to show a lot of speed, trying turf for the first time after racing over synthetic at Woodbine. The 1 in here is Basso. He finished 4th last time out, going 2 turns at Monmouth. I don't know if that distance was a little bit too far for him. He did run okay ahead of 2 next out winners. The 7th place finisher would come back to win a $25,000 starter at Delaware with a 79 Beyer speed figure. He's done well sprinting. He's done well going long. He's getting blinkers for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the best thing you could say about him is that he comes into this race in good form, maybe the best form of his career. I don't feel like cutting back, necessarily has to work against him. Maybe he's even better sprinting, Dan, but I don't know which one of his races you really want to point to and say that he's going to be, super competitive in this race. He won his career debut sprinting on dirt over 2 years ago, and he hasn't won since.
The 2 is Glorious Moment, a horse who won 3 of his first 4 starts in his native Peru. He's raced once in North America for trainer Michelle Hemingway. That race was on dirt. He was bet heavily. He showed some speed. He tired. You would think just on the face of this pedigree, he's bred for the grass. He's a grandson of Galileo. He's a half to a Group 3 place turf horse in Peru.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's plenty of turf on the face of it. His dirt form doesn't do anything for me. And so maybe he'll just be a lot better sprinting on the grass here, Dan, as he tries it for the first time. And he had better be, because based on what he's done so far, he can't win here.
Second start off a lengthy layoff, recent bullet workout on display. I won't be surprised if he shows speed. The 3 is Under Oath, going out for Todd Pletcher. This is a son of Speightstown trying turf for the first time. Speightstown, they do well with anything. 13% first-time turf runners, 14% turf sprints. This colt's a half to a turf winner, although if you look at the black type in this family, boy, it's all dirt.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I feel like it's versatile enough that maybe he'll be able to handle it, but it's definitely true that all the good horses in this family were dirt horses. Under Oath to me feels like he has a good amount of talent, Dan. I wonder, first of all, I wonder what kind of price he's going to be, because I don't think he's the kind of horse you want to get too excited about if he takes a lot of money in here. But I don't know what's going to happen. His most recent start, I don't know if you have any thoughts on this. I don't know what was going on there. It almost looked like he maybe just really resented kickback early in the race, but he basically pulled himself up around the turn, went really wide. It looked like he wasn't going to finish. And then he actually ran again at the end of the race. I don't know. I think he's pretty talented. I think he's really interested in here. I would just want him at something around that morning line price.
This was a horse that showed promise, Mike, early in his career. Before his maiden win, he was working with Pioneer of Medina, who at that point Todd had high hopes for on the Kentucky Derby trail. He went away for a little while, and you're right, that last race is perplexing. It just looked like he didn't handle the turn. He bore out badly. Then he ran a little bit at the end. He's getting blinkers for the first time. I got to look at one of the turf workouts with the blinkers on. He seemed to handle it just fine. He has tactical speed. The last race is worrisome. So take the 6-1. I think that's probably fair. I don't know if I take a dime less than that. This horse still has some upside potential. He also might be a little bit nuts. I'm hoping that the blinkers give him a little bit of focus as well as some speed. The 4 is Vocalize, who was placed first via disqualification earlier this month, 2 weeks ago for Linda Rice. That was a starter allowance race. Your thought on that, Mike? I thought he got some pace to run at.
He did get a really good trip in that race. Listen, he ran a perfectly fine race in there. He got a good trip. He made the lead past mid-stretch in there. It looked like he was home free, and he just got run over late by, I guess, an okay horse in Monteithum, who ultimately got disqualified. So this horse inherited the win. You know, I don't know, Dan. To me, the two of the last three starts sprinted on turf, he ran fine in both of those races. And I respect the fact that he has good tactical speed. I thought he was in a little bit tough here.
King Angelo, the number 5, just went through his New York bred conditions. Here's his win in the second level allowance. Second start of the year over course and distance. He took no prisoners. He went right to the front. He set the pace. He sprinted on home. Here at a very respectable 91 buyer speed figure. This is the next logical step, a open first level allowance race. And I think a case could be made that the 2 and the 3 don't have to show their dirt speed on turf, which would leave King Angelo in control yet again.
Yeah, it could, except that, you know, I know the King Angelo is usually right up on the pace. There are no fast-paced races on his card. I mean, all these races, they go relatively slow. And that includes the race that we just watched. I mean, I guess you could look at it on paper and see 21-2, 44-1, and think that he was blazing away up there, but he wasn't. He was basically loose on a really easy pace, and he sprinted on home. I can't knock his form overall because he shows up and he runs every single time. And Phil Serpy's having a great meet up here at Saratoga. Boy, if this horse goes off favored, I want no part of it.
He's won 3 of his last 5 starts, however, 2 of them over course and trip. Thin White Duke is the number 6, and he ran really well last time out at a huge price in the Grade 3 Troy. Let's watch that race 19 days ago. This race featured Golden Pal, who I believe is undefeated on turf in North America. There was some pace going on. True Valor is in this race, a graded stakes winner. He's on the lead. Golden Pal's coming to him on the outside. And Thin White Duke's going to make this really close at the end. He charges hard in the stretch of most of his races.
Yeah, he really does. And he's, you know, turned back for his last 2 starts really effectively and run really well. And both of them against horses that are way better than anything that he's facing in this race, Dan, on Wednesday. If he runs his Troy back in here, I just think he's going to win this race. And, you know, somehow he's not the morning line favorite.
I know he's one going 2 turns, but I think they found his niche. He's a late running turf sprinter. He ran some really good turf sprints early in his career. They experimented with him going longer. I think this is what he wants to do. Closers, of course, in these shorter distance turf races, they're going to need pace. They're going to need a little bit of racing luck as well. Gianni Lambo comes off a long layoff for Todd Pletcher. Let's watch his one and only start. This was at Belmont last fall, going 3/4 of a mile on the inner turf. He went right to the lead in a short field. And that's all she wrote. The son of American Pharaoh sprints on home to win. He went away after this race. You have to think that something physically went amiss. It was an okay field he beat. The 3rd place finisher came back to run 3rd in a maiden special with a 77 buyer, but that horse eventually needed a maiden claiming company to graduate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to make of this race, if only because it was basically all first-time starters. There was one horse in there with experience who was a big long shot and trailed that field around the track. And then, you know, Gianni Lambo had good speed, made the lead. There was really no change in position throughout the running, as you can see there in the replay. If nothing else, Dan, I'm happy to call him a wild card in here because I guess there's a chance that he's pretty good. And it's not like he's, you know, maybe outside of the horse who I think is going to be the favorite in this race. Outside of that horse, this isn't a super tough field that he comes back in.
Call Me Harry is the number 8. Joe Sharp reached in and took this New York bred for $45,000 last time out. He comes out of that King Angelo race. He finished 6th that day, going 5.5. His prior races against open first level allowance, 2 of them out of town, however, are pretty good. I think he has a little bit more tactical speed than he showed last time out.
Yeah, I do too. I don't know what happened last time. He did not run a good race in his most recent start. And I think it's fair to wonder, you know, what kind of form he's in actually now as a 6-year-old. Dan, after 3 starts, he really hasn't run that well in any of the 3. So, you know, maybe this is just a horse who's going the wrong way now. I think he is mildly interesting off the claim for Joe Sharp, though, because Sharp does do a good job with horses like this. And this horse does have back races that would give him a real chance in here.
And the number 9, his time, is a true wild card in this race. He's only started twice, both over the Tapeta surface at Woodbine. He won his career debut showing pretty good speed. He just opened up on that field in a blink of an eye and never gave them a chance at odds on. And last time out in the Queenston sprinting, he was in against some of the better 3-year-olds in Canada. Ron Doer, the runner-up, would come back to win the plate trial with a 95 and, of course, competed in the Queen's Plate last week. This horse has speed. I think he has an acceptable turf pedigree. He's now with James Begg, former assistant to Cassie, I believe.
I think so too. Yeah, I don't really want to, consider his last race too much. I think it was just way too tough a spot for him. His debut was fine. He wasn't, a rocket early in that race, but he had good speed. He took over very easily up the backstretch, and he won pretty easily too. And with a solid figure. I mean, there are ways to make a case for this horse, Dan. I didn't necessarily want to bet him first time turf against this field, but I wouldn't be surprised if he ran too well.
Now, we usually like cutbacks in distance. We prefer them other than stretch outs. Mile and a 5.5 on the turf's a little bit of a different animal, however. They're going to try that with the 10, Carpe's Dream. This is a horse that showed speed going 2 turns last time out. Dug in pretty gamely, got beat less than 2 lengths. That race was against 3-year-olds. So he's cutting back. Now he's facing older horses. His sprints earlier in his career were okay.
Yeah, I thought they were too. I generally don't want horses cutting back on the turf, but I really think this horse is in good form. I thought he ran well in each of his last 2 starts going longer. He did win, pretty convincingly sprinting on the turf at the end of his 2-year-old campaign. I just think this horse is really underrated. And if he's some kind of big price, I'm going to try to get him in there.
Overbore, the number 11, finished behind Carpe's Dream in that 2-turn mile race, but it was his first start off a little bit of a layoff. And personally, I think he's better sprinting. He ran well in his one and only turf sprint. He's a stakes-winning 2-year-old sprinting on the main track. And I trust Wesley Ward cutting horses back in distance. This is another horse. You're getting 10-1 on Ward and Rosario, a horse that's probably at his best at this shorter distance.
That's probably true. I couldn't ultimately talk myself into him. I do have him in there when we get to the picks. I kind of want to use him somewhere, maybe. I don't know if I want to use him on top or not. Listen, they stretched him out last time. They really didn't use his speed from the inside. They probably could have made the lead if they wanted to, and they didn't go. And he just got sort of jammed up a little early in that race. After that, he didn't really do anything. But to me, that just means he probably doesn't want to go that long. The time they sprinted him on turf as a 2-year-old, probably a race he was supposed to win, Dad. I don't know if you feel the same way about it. He did make the lead in the stretch. It just looked like, maybe because he was so inexperienced at that time, he was just hanging and waiting for somebody to come and get him, and somebody came and got him. It does feel like he improved after that.
The 12 is Winter Sun, and this horse pulled off a huge upset against weaker starter Allowance Company last month at Saratoga. Boy, Junior Alvarado made all the right moves with Winter Sun in this race. Let's watch it as they turn for home. He's got some work to do, and he's got plenty of horses in front of him, and Junior's going to split here, and now he's looking for a seam, and he's going to dive down inside this horse with the white blinkers, and he's going to try to find a split, and he does. And let's give Winter Sun some credit. He does the rest.
Yeah, exactly. He was, Alvarado found the holes for him, and Winter Sun was there for Alvarado when he got through. And this was a good performance. He took advantage a little bit, but he got the job done at a big price. He will be maybe a bigger price in this race.
Javier Castellano takes the mount on Winter Sun this time around, who must navigate from post 12. Before we get to our top selections, Risk Profile is entered main track only. Please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for all the latest DRFTV video offerings. Top pick time. I thought this race was pretty wide open. I'm surprised that we landed on the same horse, and that's Under Oath. I still think he has upside. I don't know what to make of the last race on dirt. Don't like it. Liked his recent turf work. One of the works I was able to see on the tape. I think this horse is going to show some speed for Todd.
Yeah, I did. I'm not against Thin White Duke, who I do think is the horse to beat. And actually, at the morning line odds, I would probably just rather have Thin White Duke in this race. We'll see how they wind up betting it. But I was sufficiently interested in Under Oath just because I think he has some talent. I think he is interesting switching surfaces here. And if he stays around that morning line, I could take a shot with him here.
I'm with you. Thin White Duke is a very logical contender in here. You went 3, 6, 11, 8. I went 3, 5, 6, 10. Maybe I'll try to get Carpe's Dream into the number, even though he's stepping up to take on older horses. Fun race to kick off the 50-cent late pick 5 at the Spa on Wednesday. It's your race of the day. Good luck.